Hello, hello. Welcome back to Nobody Told Me This, the channel where we lift the veil on corporate and professional inside info, make it available to everyone. Today, we are starting with something that touches everyone watching this, whether you manage a team of 50 or you're just trying to get through a tough conversation with your boss without losing your mind. We're talking about communication. And I know everyone talks about communication, but what most people don't talk about are the specific habits that are secretly working against you every single day. Not obvious things like being rude or antagonistic to your coworkers, but the little things that you probably don't even realize you're doing. So, I'm in the process of putting together a full reference guide on this that should be available on my website soon. But in the meantime, I'm going to walk you through a few tips right now. We won't get to all 8 things that'll be included in the full reference guide because I'd like you to still be here by the end of the video. But I'll make sure you know what's in the full guide before we're done here. So, all that said, let's get into it. Tip number 1, stop speaking in absolutes. And absolutes are words like always, never, everyone, no one. We throw these words around constantly, especially when we're frustrated and trying to make a point. You never listen to me. This always happens. Everyone thinks this is a problem. It's so common, but the thing is, absolutes are almost never accurate. And the second you use one, you hand the other person an easy out. They stop focusing on your actual point and start mentally listing every exception to what you just said. Like, no, I listened to you at this meeting, so you can't say I never listen. Or this doesn't always happen. Or I just talked to so and so and they love the idea. They don't think it's a problem. So, no, not everyone thinks it's a problem. Your credibility is shot with this one absolute that you used. More specific language is more credible language. Instead of you never listen to me, try saying, I often feel like my ideas don't get much consideration. You're expressing the same concern, but in a much more specific and realistic manner. And once you start noticing absolutes in your own speech, it's hard to unnotice them. Like, give it a week and you'll actually start to catch yourself as you're doing it and start correcting it. Tip number 2, lead with I instead of you. And this one especially matters in emotional conversations. When we're frustrated, we tend to start our sentences with you. You ignored me. You're not explaining this well. You're being unsupportive. Starting a sentence with you almost always comes across like an accusation, even when that's not your intention. People feel accused, they get defensive. And when defensive people stop listening. So now you're both talking at each other, but nobody's actually communicating. When you flip it and lead with I, like I felt dismissed when my question wasn't addressed, you keep the focus on your experience instead of their behavior. And that's a much easier thing for the other person to receive without shutting down. This is also like another communication habit that's super common. This one is harder to change than removing absolutes from your vocabulary, but it's one that's really worth it to work on. The third tip we're going to talk about, and this one gets everybody, is drop the fillers. And by fillers, I mean words like like, so, kind of, sort of, I just, that kind of stuff. I know I'm using some of them in here. These words make you sound uncertain even when you're not. And one of the worst things about filler words is that most of us have no idea how often we use them because they've become so automatic. So here's a simple exercise you can do to test your use of fillers. Record yourself talking for 2 or 3 minutes about anything. Literally doesn't matter what the topic is. Play it back and count how many times you say or like. I promise you it's going to be more than you think. There's a simple fix for the use of fillers, even if it doesn't feel that way. And notice I said simple, not easy. They're two very different things. When you feel a filler word coming on, just replace it with silence. Just stop, pause. In the beginning, it's going to feel like awkward dead air and everyone's staring at you, judging your life choices. but I swear that's not how it's going to come across to your audience. A pause or a moment of silence actually reads more like confidence and thoughtfulness, while an does not. Silence is actually a power move, so use it to your advantage. Tip number 4, make sure your body language matches your words. This one has a tendency to surprise people. Research has consistently shown that body language actually has a greater impact on how your communication is received than your actual words do. Your audience believes your body before they believe your mouth. So, filler word alert. If you're sitting with your arms crossed like this, saying like, yeah, sure, I'm open to feedback, they're not going to leave you. If you're slouching in a chair during a presentation about like an exciting new initiative, the message of excitement is dead. If you're looking at your phone while someone's talking to you, the conversation's over. So, filler, try to pay more attention to your body language. Have an open posture, make eye contact, and sit or stand tall. They're things that signal that you're paying attention, that you're confident, you have respect for the person you're speaking with or to. And these are things people notice before you even open your mouth. So don't minimize the importance of body language. Tip number 5, and this is the last one we're going to cover in the video, is listen to understand, not to respond. Most of us are so much worse at listening than we think we are. We start forming our response while someone's still talking. We cut people off. We drift off. We hear what we want to hear instead of what's actually being said. Active listening, which is actual full-on paying attention, is pretty rare, but when you do it well, people take notice. It builds trust, it makes people feel valued, and it actually leads to making better decisions because you heard the whole thing before you reacted. So one easy thing to try when it comes to practicing active listening is before you respond, ask one follow-up question. What I'm hearing you say is blah, blah, blah. Is that right? And you'll be surprised how often the answer to that one question gives you something that you would have completely missed if you simply jumped into response mode. So those are the 5 tips we're going to cover today. Stop speaking in absolutes, lead with I instead of you, drop the fillers, make sure your body language matches your words, and listen to understand, not to respond. 5 things. The full reference guide I'm creating will include a more in-depth analysis of those 5 tips, plus 3 additional ones. And those 3 are how to be clear and concise in emails, be specific in your requests, and then something so many of us need to work on, learn how to say no. And this one's like terrifies people, but we need to learn how to say no. The reference guide will include real examples, before and after language, and like a practice exercise for each tip. It's something that you could keep on your desk or come back to before an important conversation, a presentation, or just anytime you feel like you want to work on your communication skills. It should be available shortly, and I'll post a little update once it's ready. But I worked really hard to make the guide something practical, simple, and something you'll actually use. So I'm excited about it. If you think this content was helpful today, I'd love it if you'd like, comment, share the video with someone who you think could use it. The next content video will be about numbers you need to pay attention to as a business owner or someone in sales. Growth versus revenue, how to calculate growth rate, and like why a $3,000 month might be better than a $10,000 month, and why a dollar amount at face value tells you nothing. So subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.